Okay, so the other movie I saw it on Sunday, is of course Skyfall. 50 years of James Bond. And, okay, the last Bond film, Quantum of Solace, wasn't a bad film, but it was very forgettable. It wasn't a very, it was kind of just another action film. There wasn't that much to run home about. It was just, it didn't feel right. So we're going to have 50 years, this is the 50th anniversary of James Bond. So this is the 50th anniversary film. So they're going to have to pull, they have to pull out all the stops to make this film good. And they do. This movie is brilliant. This is one of the best movies of the year. And, it's actually been quite a good year for films this year. I mean, actually there's been very good films and there's been very bad films. There's been very few in the middle films. But Skyfall is very good. Very, very good. And this review is probably going to be shorter than the Paranormal Activities 4 one, because it's harder to talk about something that's good and something that's bad. Well, I find it anyway. But so this is the third film with Daniel Craig as James Bond, and by now we've actually got used to him as James Bond, and he does a very good job as Bond here. Because my old problem with Daniel Craig was he was very good. I mean, he was a very good actor. He always did a good performance, but he never felt cool as Bond. He never kind of fit the tuxedo look. This movie he does, and he does very well. I mean, and he has the cool Bond moments which we come to expect, and we go to the the James Bond movies to see. So, this movie is actually, it's a very character-driven piece. This movie. It's a lot to do with the relationship between James Bond and M, played by Dame Judi Dench. And the villain in James Bond, I can't remember his name, it's something Spanish. I know you're probably going to berate me for this one at the bottom, but in the comments. But anyway, he's a very good villain, by the way. I'll get to him later. Anyway, it's between it's like a love triangle of the relationship. It's between Bond and M and the villain and Bond, and the villain and M. It's kind of, that's how this is like a character-driven James Bond film. One of the few ones actually, and I'm not going to spoil this film. That's why it's going to be short. I want you to go see this film, so I'm not going to spoil what happens in this film. But there are a lot of good moments in this that make it feel like a Bond film, but also make it feel modern as well. Which is, they get the perfect middle of, it feels like a Bond film, but it feels like a modern day film as well. So we've got the James Bond having sex with a girl, multiple girls actually. No wait, only two in this one. Sorry, wait, I'm getting sidetracked. So the film starts off with Bond on this mission with this girl called Eve. And I'm not going to spoil her, because she gets a great reveal at the end. Anyway, they're on a mission together, and during the mission, Bond accidentally gets shot by Eve and falls off a train, off a bridge, into the sea. You see it in the trailers, you know what's happened. And then he's been gone for 3 months. And then when MI6 is attacked, a cyber attack, causing it to actually, part of the building to explode, James Bond sees it on the news and decides to come back. But while he's been gone for 3 months, he's actually kind of lost his edge. What made him so indestructible, and that's kind of the theme of this movie as well. Is they keep on bringing it back that Bond isn't as good as he was in this movie. He's still a good spy, but he's not as good as he was because he's been gone and he hasn't had time to, hone his skills, like keep them in the works. So basically it's a Bond not at 100% trying to save the day, and it kind of does, because actually the villain's plan gets thwarted in the second half of the movie, and in the final part of this movie, actually kind of goes back in time and feels more like an old James Bond film, not in a bad way, because that's when he gets out the DB5, the most legendary car in cinema, and it's actually got all. And I don't think it's the Goldfinger DB5, but it's got the gadget. It's got the ejector seat. They don't use it, but it's got machine guns and stuff like that, which they use. And it's just, if you're going to do a 50th anniversary Bond film, that's the car you're going to use, isn't it? But anyway, if you, it's when he gets into that and drives down to his home, his actual childhood home, which is actually called Skyfall. That's the estate that he grew up in. It was called Skyfall. There's your movie name. It sort of goes back in time a bit. It sort of feels different and old. So, and actually the ending feels, how they set up the ending of this movie, the final scenes of this movie, feel exactly like a Sean Connery Bond film. It's even kind of set exactly like a Sean Connery Bond film. It's set perfectly. It's set beautifully well done. And and they even have the gun barrel at the end. They have the the turn around and shoot that, which you watch a Bond film for that. You just watch it for that. But anyway, that happens, and I got really lost there. I kept on getting sidetracked. Anyway, Daniel Craig does a really good job, but the star of this show is Dame Judi Dench. She is fantastic in this movie. She again is playing M, and she actually becomes, she's part of the story now. She's not just James Bond's boss anymore. She's actually a full-fledged character in this movie, and she has her own things, and she does her own stuff in this movie, and it's really, really good. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. This film, pretty much everything about this film is really good, and the side characters like Eve and Q, the new Q. Now, I was a bit skeptical at first of making Q younger than Bond, but again, that fits the theme. And the new guy who plays Q, again, does a very good job. He comes up, he's never going to be as good as the original Q. I mean, no one is. He was so good, but they do the thing to establish him that this isn't going to be like the old Q, where he gives Bond all the gadgets he needs to survive. Like they even made that joke. They even made the joke in the film. He goes, "What, were you expecting an exploding pen? We don't do that anymore." And he's just played off so subtly, like he's a genius. He's an absolute genius. Like, but the original Q came off as like James Bond's surrogate father, if you know what I mean. Like, he's the one who always looks after Bond. Q. But this film he doesn't, because they are building up that friendship with Q, and they do it. It's there, the foundations are there, it's just what they do with the next films is how they're going to cement it. And so the new Q I do like, but it's going to need a few more, it's going to need maybe the next Bond film it's going to take for me to actually, before I like him or fall in love with the new Q. The Bond girl, she... Very, very surprising what they do with the Bond girl. It's like, because there's this, it comes to this moment in the film with the Bond girl where you're going, oh, it's okay, she's a Bond girl, she'll be fine. And I'm not telling you what part of this movie this is, and you just look at it and go, oh, well, I didn't expect that. That's very dark and, wow. I'm not telling you what scene it is or where it happens, but you just you see it, it's like, oh, she'll be fine, and she's not. She doesn't come out fine. Not before, but it was after James Bond had sex with her, so pretty much actually you are pretty doomed if you've had sex with James Bond. What was I saying? But yeah, what they did with the Bond girl is very clever, very clever. Again, to make you feel like this isn't the old Bond anymore. So again, that was very clever. So other things I could talk about. Oh, this film is shot beautifully. There are so many. Oh, of course, it's a Bond film, so you're gonna have the big tourist board shots like they do in China, the huge in Shanghai, the huge like ones you can see in basically a tourist video with a huge helicopter shot where they go, "Visit Shanghai. We have all of this buildings. Look how beautiful it is." But then we have the final, the climax scenes, which finally don't use shaky cam. which was a big problem in Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, was shaky cam, where they shook the camera during the action scene and we couldn't really see what was going on. They finally decided, actually no, let's have the people see what it is, and we hold the frame for a long time. We don't just cut every 5 seconds, and the action scenes look much better for it. Much, much better. You actually feel like this is an action scene, not just, this is just a mess. And actually the writer for this Bond film, he said he's writing 2 more Bond films, which, with how he's done Skyfall, I am very much looking forward to his next 2 Bond films, which, don't know when they're going to be, but hopefully soon. Because this film, this is actually how I see the Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall. This is kind of like the prequel trilogy of Bond becoming Bond. If you know what I mean. Because at the end of Skyfall, it's back to how it is. It's back to Bond, how it was in Doctor No or GoldenEye, how they set it up. Not in like, oh, it's cheesy and there's loads of gadgets. Not like that. As in, it feels exactly like, okay, and we're back. We're back where we belong. We're back in the moment. So really, actually, this is my recommendation. Stop watching this video now and go watch Skyfall. Just stop it. It's such a brilliant, brilliant movie. It's definitely going to be in my top 10 of the year. So, I wish this review could be more in depth, but still, Alex the Hunted, go watch Skyfall. See you later.